Hey, welcome back to Real Boring Flips. I'm Kevin, and we're going to finish up what sold in May. Earlier, you saw what we sold in the first half, roughly half of the month, and today we're going to run through the rest of that stuff. Now, we had 50 on our main store. We had 50 sales in the month of May. We went over 23 of them last month or last video, so we'll do the rest of those this video. And for the total month after shipping, our take was just about 4,800, plus another few hundred on our sister site. So we're trying to build up that second store just as we inventory and list more items. Now that I've retired and have what I thought was going to be a lot more time, we're way behind. So we have been enjoying this time. So which is kind of what we thought we would be able to do when we started planning for this this moment 5 years ago. During the pandemic, we decided we could probably start a reselling business, spend the next several years fine-tuning, figuring out what works, figuring out what doesn't work for us, and then we decided we'd start sharing that stuff with you. So adding that in does take a little extra effort, especially for someone who really didn't have any experience doing that. So thank you for joining us. Thank you if you're a subscriber. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. That really is helping us. We have some goals for this channel. We want to provide as much value as we can. We have we call it the value for value model, ITM to you guys. We want to give you as much value as we can with these videos, as much information, much enjoyment, just as much as you can get. And then in return, all we ask is that you watch the videos, you like the videos, you subscribe, and send in comments, and maybe even share these videos with people that you think might enjoy them as well. So that's our model. We don't have a Patreon. We don't have a list of products that you can buy on Amazon and we get a share. We don't have members. We don't have a club that you join. There's no plus subscriptions. And we just have this. This is our premium content, and it's all right here. So in a minute, we're going to jump over to the other desk. We're going to run through stuff that we sold in the second half of May, some great stuff in here, and then we come back, we'll finish up. But like I always say, I know you're not here for this. What you're here for is to find out what is Kevin enjoying today, and what he's got today, since it's about 3:30, but I don't work, so I don't have to get up early in the morning. We're going to enjoy this, not sure how to say that, Stoke cold brew, and this is mocha cream flavor. And it says supports focus, so that's what I'm trying to get. I need to focus on listing. So it's got caffeine and B vitamins. So we're going to pop this open and see if I enjoy it. Have a satisfying pop. Well, I can tell you the flavor is really good. That's a good coffee mocha flavor and creamy. So they got all the words in there. I'm hoping that when you come back, I'm really focused on the end of this video. Okay, let's head over there and we'll come back here in just a minute. We just got a ton of Playmobil stuff, and this little set I actually got at Goodwill. I was really on the fence about it. I paid $20 for it, but it had a ton of the figures. The boat itself was not in great shape. It looked like it had spent some time, more than 40 days out in the salt water. And so I was a little hesitant, but I priced it at $100 plus shipping. And wouldn't you know it, I got my full price. We actually have, at this recent purchase, I got another Noah's Ark. It's missing the top, so it's the boat and some figures. And so I actually just listed it even without the top. And then I got another one at Goodwill for, I think, $6, just the boat with the top. So we'll see what we're going to do with that. More Playmobil coming up. not bad though. For 20 bucks, some of this vintage Playmobil stuff really is good, is a good flip. I have made a lot of money on what I would term quackery, but I'm sure there's some, I'm sure people get really good use out of devices like this. This is sort of like a magnetic system of pads and controllers and things. I bought this whole box on Shop Goodwill, and after I bought it, I thought, oh man, I really overpaid. I paid $315.56 shipped, and when I got it, it was untested. All the pads and things were in good shape, but the tablet didn't work, and I wasn't really sure if it was a battery. It's one of those things that has to have a battery for it to work. You can't just plug it in. So I ended up selling this a while ago for parts. I think I sold it for $900, parts or repair. And then the person who got it messaged me and said, hey, I know you sold it parts and repair. Would you consider taking it back? And I will, for half that. So we went through this. I think I talked about this on a previous video, but I felt bad for the person, so I agreed to do it, and then learned the hard way that eBay doesn't work that way. And so it was a real hassle to try to get a partial refund to this person. And in the end, they actually tried to get eBay to give them a full refund. So I ended up getting, I think I kept 400 of the 900, and so I was in the black at that point. So eventually I relisted it, this time parts or repair, no returns. And I ended up getting an offer of $800, and the person's had it now for several weeks. So fingers crossed. But it was for, I think, so 800 here, and I had 400 from before, so 1,200 after paying $315. Not bad, but man, I don't advise that kind of purchase. I get lots of stuff from online. We do a lot of online estate sale purchases, and sometimes you'll get someone's office supplies. I got a ton of these little photo corners, self-adhesive photo corners of various different versions. I finally just decided I'm going to lot these up. So I put this lot together, and I think I took an offer, or maybe I priced it at $8 plus shipping. I got $8 plus $14 shipping. I have no idea how that worked out, but basically pennies into this stuff, and I got a bunch more of these. I had bought two bags of Thomas the Train wooden trains, and the older magnetic-y ones. And the first bag, I paid $15 for each bag. The first bag sold pretty quickly for about $80. This one took forever, and I thought this bag was the better bag. So I'm not sure what happened, but a guy who resells these individually made a $30 offer, and so I just took it. I still made $15 on this bag, and hopefully they're making some good money selling them individually. I don't even remember where we got this. This might have come from a garage sale, but it's been in the store for a long time. I got a full price $5 plus shipping offer. I probably paid 25 cents for it. This was a Star Wars catchphrase game. This item I wanted to keep. In fact, I think I had listed it at $100 plus shipping, and I got a lot of $85, $88, $90 offers that I just didn't accept because I kind of wanted to keep it. I paid $40 for it, but this allows you basically to hook up any of your stereo equipment and turn them into a Bluetooth device. I finally got an offer, I think 90, and I told the guy I'm not gonna sell it for less than 95 because I really don't want to sell it, and he immediately took the $95 counter offer. So sadly, it's gone. Here's the second set of those lead singer karaoke mics. This one I took an offer at 28. So basically, I sold the two for about $70. I had maybe $1 or $2 into that. So I would probably do that every day. Here's something I would not do every day. Do not do this. Early on, when we decided to get serious about reselling, we hadn't even really formed Real Boring Flips yet. I was at a garage sale, kind of an estate sale. This guy's mom had passed, and so he had all of her stuff out in the front yard. And he had all these dolls in the box. You know, they had never left the box. And I thought that these were going to be crazy profitable. I bought 5 or 6 of them for, I think, $6 a piece. This is the second one I sold. I think this is the second of only 2 of the 6 that are actually had any value. I did get a full price offer of $28 plus shipping. What was unique about these dolls is this lady, whoever bought them, she kept detailed records because she had made payments. You can kind of see in the photo. I didn't show everything in the listing, but she listed out every check number that she wrote, when she sent it in, and then when she completed her payment plan. I think this doll was several $100s in payments, and this was probably in the early 80s, if I remember right. Cannot believe how much money she probably had into all those dolls, because I only got 6 of them. But yeah, don't buy these. Do buy these. You saw last month I sold a vintage Playmobil castle, and I mentioned I had also sold this Fisher-Price castle. I finally got this. This was a tote that I bought at Goodwill for $20. It was the classic thing that we look for at Real Boring Flips, the plastic tote taped over because there was no lid. But I could see Playmobil, or I could see a Fisher-Price Imaginext figures, knights, and things. So I knew what it was. I knew it was worth more than $20, and I actually thought it was worth more than what I got. It just wasn't. So I priced mine at $100. We put it together as best we could and listed it, and it sold pretty quickly. So who knows? Maybe I could have gotten a little more. But these are definitely on my BOLO list. Any of these little toys where you build castles and you have the figures, definitely grab those. This next item, this is like one of the best items I've ever found at Goodwill. And you saw in a video a couple of videos ago where I found this. And I think it was probably the first time I took video in Goodwill where I actually found something amazing and caught it on video. So bonus points for that one. And I think you probably heard me say that I paid $15 for this Salad Master electric cooker, and it had the extra bowl, which I guess is not normal. I mean, most of the listed ones didn't have the bowl. I did pay about $100 for the cord, and actually someone commented to my video and said they've learned that you can order those cords directly from Salad Master for cheaper, so I'm going to look into that. But I paid $15 for the cooker and about $100 for the cord, maybe a little less. But I got my full price asking of $550 plus shipping relatively quickly. So super excited about that sale. Sometimes you sell stuff that you think is cool and apparently no one else does. I found this bun warmer at St. Vincent de Paul, our local thrift store, for about $2. It was so cool looking, had the little instruction sheet. I could just imagine my grandma cooking up some hot dogs and putting the buns in this thing to warm them up for lunch over the summertime. Really cool, just not cool to most people. I did find someone who thought it was cool enough to pay my full asking of $25 plus shipping. So almost a 10x sale, just about. This was also almost a 10x sale. I found this Lasco oscillating fan. This was a 12-inch fan. I think that's probably the better size. I have another oscillating fan, not Lasco, but another brand, but it's a 16-inch, and I just don't think they're as desirable. They're just too big. So I'm using it here during the summer. But really cool fan. I probably went through 3 or 4 of these, maybe 5 of these in my career at work, these same fans. But this one was in really nice shape. I got it for $8 at Goodwill and sold it at offer for $61.34 plus shipping. You saw in my last video, actually, my thrifting video, where I bought this little snap-on remote control car. I didn't have the controller, didn't have the battery. I got it for $2 and sold it not too long after with a $20 offer. So I got my times 10. These little plastic latches or lock clamps for the Hamilton Beach Juicer series, I sell these every time. And I usually I get my $10 list price plus shipping. And I don't know why, but the shipping showed up as $12. So I don't know how that is, but these probably cost me $5 to ship. I paid $2 for the whole juicer, and the Hamilton Beach juicers sell pretty well. The parts. This was the last of, I think I bought 10 of these vintage Captain Kirk Dr. Pepper glasses at a garage sale. I paid $1 each. I don't like selling glass, and these hung around for a long time. This was the final frontier for this, was this one, this last glass. So it was nice to have them, nice to see them gone. I took an offer at $11. So again, I got my times 10. So this was a Volkswagen maintenance book. There's lots of different versions of this. This was the 16th edition from 1981. I bought this at a estate sale for $5. I thought I paid too much. I probably did pay too much for it, but I thought it was cool enough. And I sold it. I took an offer at about $20 and sold it, and then I could not find it for the life of me. So eventually I had to cancel that sale. And then I finally found it, relisted it, sold it again for another different customer this time, but took a $20 offer, and I couldn't find it again, but I did find it in time to ship it out. So it's gone now. It won't be coming back. Of that huge recent Playmobil pickup that we just got, this was the first thing sold. I put together as much of the police station as I could find, and there was a couple of add-on pieces to it. But I got maybe $20 into this, and I got my full price of $100 plus shipping. I've got a ton more of great Playmobil sales coming up for you. We put a hot tub in when we first moved to this house a few years ago, and I've put hot tubs in before. I knew that this was valuable. I knew it was worth more than $13 because it was brand new. It was a 50 amp spa panel. I took an offer at $62 just because the prices were in there. That's what they were selling for. I had mine priced a little higher, so thankfully my buyer figured out how to do make offer and sent me the offer. Sometimes your buyers have trouble. my buyer for this arrow garden, which the listing clearly shows the 9 pots, 9 spaces for growing little plants, they needed me to answer that question. So, which is fine. I'm gonna give as much customer service as I can, but it was odd to me. I think a lot of people look at listings on their phone, so they're not really able to see things. But in this case, they made $100 offer plus shipping. I paid $30 for it. It was brand new in the box. It just didn't have the plants pods, which you'd buy new ones anyway. So I probably paid too much for it, but still made pretty good profit. It didn't sit around too long. A little while ago, I sold a Waterwise distiller, a big one, for pretty good money. And then I found another Waterwise distiller, very similar to this one. And then I found this one. This was a H2O Labs distiller. And I spent a little time on all of those, cleaning out a little bit of the calcium buildup on the inside. And then this one I also cleaned up the motor, cleaned it all up, and listed it for $70 and got my full price. I paid $8 for this. So distillers are on my list to look out for, my BOLO list. I also look for, when I'm looking at golf clubs, I also look for these training clubs. I sold another training club a while ago that I got real cheap at a garage sale. Then I stumbled on this one at Goodwill. I paid $8 for it. I probably paid too much. I ended up taking an offer at $37. And then the shipping, I could not get the shipping down. I think I paid a few dollars extra for shipping as well. But what was funny about this listing is my buyer reached out, messaged me, and said, would I take 37? And I said, yes, go ahead and make an offer. And then they said, no, you send me an offer. And I said, no, you send me an offer. And they said, no, we just went to an event where they told us that you can send us an offer. And I said, I'm not sending you an offer. That's different. You can send me an offer. They should have explained how make offer and send offer are two different things. And so finally he made an offer. I accepted it. You're probably at this point wondering, what is he talking about? And the difference is, if I send you an offer, you get days to decide whether or not you're going to do anything. And as soon as I send it, I'm completely locked out of changing my listing. And so I don't ever send offers, especially, I hardly ever even respond to messages of offers. I just ask people, go ahead and make an offer. Click on the make offer button and send it to me. And so finally this guy did. I don't think he ever quite understood that. He sells golf clubs on eBay. So I'm not sure why he couldn't come around to that. But I finally just told him I don't want to tie my item up with an offer I've sent you. And so he quickly made an offer. Let me know if you've ever had those weird interactions with customers who want to ask you if you'll accept an offer through a message, and what you do about it. I saw this big, so this is a 1/6 scale Humvee toy in Goodwill. Really rough, beat up, missing just about everything. The front axle was zip tied on, but it still rolled. I paid $13 for it. I actually had it listed for, I forget, $60 maybe. And someone reached out, a woman reached out and asked me, they did do this. They asked me in a message, would you take 45? And I said, go ahead and send me an offer. And they sent me an offer. I told them I would, because it was pretty rough. And this was days after I listed it. So I felt comfortable getting a little more than 3 times sale in just a matter of days. I was kind of concerned with the condition, that it might sit for a while. And the other thing that made me realize this person really wants it is their eBay name was 1/6 something.
So they're really into this scale of military toys. So this little radio, it's a Marine VHF radio, communication radio. It's kind of in my Real Boring Flips wheelhouse. This kind of stuff. It didn't have it didn't have a power cord, so it was difficult to test. I had to like rig up something just to get the connections to the 12-volt leads. But I was able to do that, and I was able to confirm that it transmitted. I couldn't tell if it was receiving or not, but it all looked good. I listed it, I think $50 or something. Listed it, mentioned that you'd need to get a new power cord, and I got an offer for $38. I took it. I paid $20 for it, so I was a little disappointed, but I thought better to move it on, especially quickly. The buyer got it and messaged me and said, it was very cryptic. I'm not sure if maybe English isn't their first language, but the message was very cryptic. Something about not being happy because the power cord. And so I messaged back and said, hey, I'm not sure what you're asking, but I think you're saying maybe it didn't come with a power cord, which is what I showed and mentioned in the listing, or maybe you're having trouble finding a power cord. And so he messaged back and said, yeah, he tried to get one from West Marine and they don't have one. And so I said, well, you could also just cut that off and then you'd have the red wire and the black wire. So he messaged back and said, oh, okay. So I think I solved it. I solved the problem by telling him to pick up his wire cutters. A couple more items. Earlier I talked about a Canon camera that I sold that I had to buy several lots. So at that same estate sale, I also bought a bunch of books. And this set of books was just in it. So I listed these. I took a $20 offer. This wasn't even something I wanted. It just showed up with the books I did buy. I bought a nearly complete set of Brian Jake's Redwall series, and a couple of them are library books, but they're hardbacks. I have a couple that I don't have, but I think the one that's really hard to get is the first book. I do have the first book in paperback, but I paid $132 for that set of books. And then the other two sets of books I bought, one was $20 and one was $50. And this Hitchhiker's Guide book set was in there, in one of those. But those two sets, I have a full set of the Pratchett Discworld series, plus a bunch of extra Discworld books. So sometimes you gotta buy multiple lots just to get a set. So in this case, this just showed up with it. So this $20 will help kind of lower my cost basis for the other two sets that I was really after. And this next item, this camera was also part of that whole estate sale shenanigans. I again had to buy a couple of different lots to get this camera. I paid $65 for everything here, and I got a offer of $265. I had it listed for $300. I normally sell these for $300, but I felt like the condition on this one maybe it was had a little more scuffing on the body, the camera body. The camera worked perfectly. It just wasn't as shiny as some of the other ones I've sold. So I took a $265 offer. It's been delivered, and then I got a message, actually a item not received claim. So I've already reached out or went through the process with eBay, and they actually notified me in a status message that I did everything right. I shipped the item to the address. It's been delivered. And so at this point, in a couple of days, I can contact eBay and ask them to step in. So I think I will probably do that because I've reached out to the buyer several times, asking them to check with their post office, asked them to confirm their shipping address. This is a zero feedback buyer. Sometimes they don't really understand what's going on. And in this case, it may have shipped to an old address. Maybe they didn't update their address. I'm not sure. I'm trying to get some feedback from them, but I plan to call eBay in a couple of days and just confirm with them that there's nothing more I can do. And now we're to the final item. Another crazy item. Another crazy buyer, I guess. I sell these all the time, these cordless phone handsets. This one was, I almost didn't list it because the condition was just, it looked terrible. It worked perfectly, but obviously someone had used this phone a lot and had rubbed the color right off the plastic on the keypad area. You could still read all the keys, but just the plastic around the keys was worn to the point where there was no color left. So I listed a little lower than I normally do for these things. I only had this one of this model, and I ended up getting a full price $10 plus shipping purchase, but the buyer reached out immediately and said, hey, it looks really dirty. Can you make sure and clean it really good before you ship it? And so that messages like that always get my spidey senses going. And so I pulled it out, realized, okay, it's not dirty, it's the color is what he's seeing. So I messaged him back, said, hey, it's nice and clean, but if you zoom in on the pictures, you'll see that it's actually the color has been worn away. So I said, let me know if you would rather cancel. He said, go ahead and send it. He gets it and immediately sends me one of those messages. If you've been selling on eBay for any period of time, you've gotten one of these messages. Hey, something's wrong. I don't want to send it back. Can you just refund the money? So in this case, he said, hey, the charger works fine, but the phone doesn't stay together, which is really weird because that would be very hard to do on one of these phones. So I said, he just wanted me to refund him $10, which is what he paid for the whole thing. I just said, go ahead and send me a return request and I will provide you a return shipping label. So he immediately messages me back, oh, I don't need to send everything back. The charger works fine. And so I didn't respond. And then a day goes by, and then pretty soon he says, well, I can't really return it anyway because I lost a screw while I was trying to fix it. I'm pretty sure there are no screws holding those phones together. So let me know how your experience with one of those weird, hey, can I just have some money back messages goes. That's pretty much what I normally do. I say, I'll send you a label, send me a return request, and then that's the last communication they get from me. We also sold another set of Bible CDs. Now, I think previously I had sold some in April, which you didn't see. Sold another set of, these ones were New King James Version, New Testament CDs. And these came at the free rummage sale. I probably had about 25 cents into these, and we got our full asking price of $10 plus shipping. And then you saw earlier some of the Playmobil stuff that we recently got. I sold that police set. This was not from that stuff, but this came from my local Goodwill in a big plastic tote full of this treehouse set and a camping set and all the figures and accessories and stuff. And so we were able to piece together mostly what this treehouse set was. Not complete. I didn't really have any of the figures. I had a few of the accessories, and I didn't even have all of the parts. But I paid $25 for the set, the tote full of stuff in Goodwill. And I use those totes. Those are the flip-top totes that I like to use for inventory. And I typically have to pay $4 to $5 for those in used condition. So total I paid $25. I have the tote and I have the other set for sale. So we got our full asking of $28 plus shipping. So we're doing well on that.
Okay, and we're back. Pretty awesome sales. I was really happy with how the entire month of May went, considering that we were gone about a whole month from towards the end of March or middle of March to middle of April. Really happy how things turned around. Now, that being said, I'm not sure we'll have 2 videos for June. It is so slow right now. It is the June swoon. But instead of focusing on that, what we're focusing on is what things can we do that will help us regardless of sales. And so we're doing some auditing. I use totes for a lot of my inventory. So we're just auditing a tote at a time. And in some cases, we'll just take an item out. Hey, this is not going to sell. I don't know why I even bought this, why I even listed it. So out it goes. And then we'll keep track of all that stuff, because if I donate it, that's different. If I dispose of it, that's different, as far as how I keep my records and my tax return next year. So think about that as you're managing stuff during a slow period. Pick something that will help you even if you're not getting sales. So that's what we're doing. But some of the stuff that sold, had you ever seen one of those energy mat systems before? I had never seen those, and there's a bunch of different versions, and I don't think I had the best version, but I know when I got it, there was a price tag or a price sheet in it that was like about $4,000 when it was new. So I'm glad to see that gone. I'm counting down. I think I have 4 days left in my 30 days from delivery. So even though I sold it as parts, as you heard, there were problems last time. So fingers crossed there. And then the doll. Unfortunately I didn't have a picture to show you, but I thought I would maybe drum up some sales from my viewers. If anyone is interested, I do have a few more dolls left, and this is Little Girl with the Curl, so let's show you her. Sorry, it's probably wiping out my mic here. Here's Little Girl with a Curl. Beautiful little doll. She's never left the box, and she could be yours. I'm willing to deal. I've got, we're almost out of stock on Franklin heirloom dolls. We're down to our last few. But this doll was loved, and I'll show you. I'm not sure if I can show you this, but this is the kind of record keeping that the woman who bought this doll originally did. She noted when she reserved the doll. She noted when she received the acceptance of the reservation. She noted the total cost. She noted the payments, the check numbers for each payment, and then there's also the letters from Franklin Heirloom Dolls acknowledging that she is going to receive this doll. And then there's also, you get this too, you get the poster. This is the full poster of Little Girl with the Curl. Now I do have a couple of more dolls, just a couple left. So people are standing by here to take your calls. So think about that. And then what do you think about that Salad Master? Now we just got a couple more, one more electric, it's a skillet, not a big pot. So it's not as valuable, but it's still an electric liquid core skillet. And I'm not sure if that video's come out yet, but got a couple of Salad Master pieces, including that another electric skillet. I'm on the hunt for that stuff now. Once you see it once, you're always looking. And like I mentioned in the last What Sold video, that's just a little tool that goes into your reseller tool kit that stays there with you. So you saw in the video, we just sold that fan. It is sweltering here. We sold that fan just in time. Now fortunately I got another fan, not a Lasco, but it's a 16-inch oscillating fan. That one is also for sale if you're interested. But it's funny how sometimes you sell stuff and then you kind of wish you still had it. So sometimes I do that. And then just a couple of updates. The Canon PowerShot camera, I did end up requesting eBay to step in, and they immediately stepped in and closed it in my favor. So I guess the overall thing to know about that is make sure when you're shipping items that you are shipping them to the address that eBay provides you. In no case ship it somewhere else. And for me, the difference was the item was delivered to the address that they provided, and the tracking showed that, and there was nothing that was going to happen to me as far as eBay taking that money. The buyer never did reach out, so I'm assuming they did get it. They were a zero feedback buyer. I think there's a mechanism to buy on eBay without actually really being an eBay member. So I've had several sales like that where there's zero feedback and you never get any communication from them, no matter how much you try. And then the last item that you saw, the cordless phone, I did finally get actually I got a message saying that they wanted me to send them a return label. And before I just didn't get a chance to respond to it, they finally submitted a return request, sent me photos of a mystery screw that they were able to locate and reinstall. So we're going to update you next time once I get that package back to let you know what we got back. I'm curious what I'm going to get. Am I going to get my phone, something other phone? I've never had this situation. So we'll update you on that. But you can tell I'm pretty focused on all this stuff because this stuff really is good. You got to get some of this. And as I always say, come join me again next time.